Sorry, my name is Helena, and my YouTube channel is Wagare Wajeni. And I come by your side because I promise you, after the video that I made why Swedish East African immigrants, they don't welcome or they don't have other East Africans to settle in Scandinavians. Scandinavians, I mean Sweden, Denmark, and Norway. And you can put Finland there if you want. And I told you that I found so many people, and I met so many people with problem with stress, psychological problem. And I told you that I'm going to come and answer this question. Is it sure that in West nation, because Scandinavia is one of the West nations, is it sure that in Scandinavians you can become, you can be displaced? Yes, you can be displaced. I told you one of the mistakes that we made is the issue of taking the people that came in this nation for granted, that they no longer help the very newcomer migrant to Scandinavian nation to settle. Because I remember when I came, even before I came, that my sis and my aunts, which are in other places, they had connection with the people who were living near where I was coming to settle. And they had shared immediately I arrive in Sweden, I get a telephone number here in Sweden. They shared that telephone number to people that were at least around. Even they shared to some people like who are in Stockholm, because from where I live, Mora, Dalarna, is 4 hours to Stockholm. So in case I need help, so there were some people I had communicated, they had given me, they had connected me, not only people who are within the Scandinavians, I had some people even from Britain. So in case, so I felt so much, I had a very good social group that I could turn to. And that's why I told you that those people who misbehave and they broke the relationship and they break heart of these people who we can call immigrant indigenous of who are in West nations, they really they made a very big mistake, that most of the help that I got, I was getting from these friends that I was connected to. Because remember, even in the real sense, in our day life, you can, for you to be able to get a job quickly nowadays, it's because you know somebody who knows somebody. These people who know somebody who knows somebody else, they're the ones that make connection for you who are new. And when you tend, when that mistake was made, it affected. I don't know whether it will take time to build that relationship again. I don't know, because it have taken, now I live here for a while. And you know, these indigenous, they are growing old. Some are near to pension. I don't know whether some even because the one that live like 2 hours, I just visited their homes and they welcomed me as their own sister. And they did not know me physically. They knew my sisters. They knew my aunt. They knew. They took me. Oh, you are from Kenya. We are from Kenya. So, and those people, despite that, some were not even Kikuyu as I am. Some we were from different places, but the connection that we had, the bond that we had, the way we were joined together by those immigrant indigenous, because even by then there was a group which was Kenya Tanzania group. That group break immediately 1 year after I settled, after me settling, 1 year or 2 years after me settling to Sweden. That is when things started. Because I told you, remember from the other video, I met these people very hearted and they gave me stories. And that's when I sit down and I decided, I took it upon myself. And I say that, yeah, these people may be older than I. But I think I have a solution that I need to tell like my family enough is enough. So like my family, they had a very good connection because we had aunts and sisters that had lived in West Nations since I was a kid. So you can imagine how good connection they had. And after all these dramas, everything went down. So that is one way how people, they lose connection with each other. Because remember, when you come to these nations, even Germany, we had even connection with the people from Germany. Because from Sweden or Norway, Denmark, to send a help to somebody who need help in Germany, it is not far. So people were helping each other even in Germany, because the big mistake that you make a person when you land in the nations Finland, Sweden, Denmark, Norway, Germany, even the nations, other European nations like France, is a language barrier. Not many of us that come as migrants that can talk the indigenous language. So it means that when we lost this connection of immigrant indigenous, we lost a lot. We lost communication. We lost somebody who could hold us hand and show us the way. So the one thing that will make you to be stressed is because it may not be possible. Today there is WhatsApp, at least. But remember, when you are trying to settle in a new nation, you are not too much longing to talk to people whom you left back home. You are very much after connected to the people where you have just landed. You want to settle as quick as possible. And that's why you see people, that's where you see people, they get replaced because you had your own expectation. Like we say that you have legal documents, because it's another way that you don't have, you have illegal documents. That one, it can be very hard. But we say, let's say that you had legal document to stay here, so you are not staying underground. But one thing, you don't know the language. Your neighbors, I told you about a Scandinavians. A Scandinavian is not somebody who opened door for you. To see you today and you open the door tomorrow. Even the day after tomorrow, she will not. I remember that I have met some people like from other nations who told me that they have neighbors which they try even to say hi. Because some people, I told you that it's a matter of taking trust. And one thing, African, we don't understand. You hear these people saying that we live like frogs. I've realized that most of the young people, because I realize they are the ones that are saying that they go in depression. Yes. One thing, I tell you that there is an age where you migrate with your children. is a risky business. And that age, when your child pass plus 10, especially we say between 13 and 18, these children, they'll never, most of them, because they will not be able to talk the language as their first language. Very few. At least 13 is a little bit better. Let us talk about a child who came to Sweden with 16, between 16 and 18. I remember when I came to Sweden, we were with a guy who was from Ireland. Remember, the rest of us, we were over 20. And this guy, who was 16, he could not fit. He could not fit in nursery school. He could not fit in primary school. The secondary school, he cannot make it because he does not know the language. So we used to go to this language school. Imagine you are 16 and you are going language school with people from 40. You can imagine. Although when we are in class, he can talk to us. Like us who were 20, it was not a big deal. But you can imagine how much lonely that young man from Ireland he was. Because first, yes, he's going to school is one way to socialize. But the kind of group, the kind of people that are going to that class, they are older. They have nothing in common. So if you are planning to settle with your children in West Nation, don't wait until they pass 10 years. Under 10 years, they can finish, they can be taken back to primary lower classes, even if they are 9, it doesn't matter. Those ones, they will catch up with language. And in case you come with children of that age, try to connect them not with your group. Because one thing most of the immigrants, they do, like I myself am disadvantaged because I met anybody from Kenya. So I was a kind of advantage because I was living and I still live. I have never moved from place where I was because these people, they welcome me warmly. And most of them that, because my small body can cheat them, they thought even they thought that my husband had just married someone who was 16 years. So they pitied me, the women, and I got favor. They love me so much. And that's why I stuck to, they taught me so many things. So I was telling you, one of the mistakes that immigrant parents, they do, when they come, they start looking at the people, looking friends for their children, whom they talk the same language. Then when I look for people who talk Kikuyu and I want to learn a new language, German, France, or what, do you think that it would be easy for me? Because most of the time I was supposed to talk that new language I want to learn. But instead, most of the people, they want connection with the people of the same language, of the same phrases. So there is nothing new that you are learning. So those children, in future, they will not have very good friends. And that can make them led into a loneliness. Despite that you can come with your children when they are very little here. But when you connect them just with the people from Kenya, from Eritrea, from Ethiopia, those people that they don't have the Swedish as a first language. In future, when they want to connect with the indigenous Swedish who talk the first language, it might not be able because they did not search that connection from the beginning. Some things we do them too early, not too late. And that's why you see this young age, between below 30, they have a problem. When they come here, when they come here and they want to settle, whether they came here to study and then they stuck here. Remember that they might not be having a good chance to make friends with indigenous children, or even like my children. There was a time another woman, we tried to help another woman from West Africa to try to connect my children with their children. But do you know what happened? My children flew away. The way of thinking, the way of doing things, because they are born here, they found very different, and they just break. We realize even as parents, they are not matching. They are not matching. That these children are always searching network from children who have been born here. It's a typical. I have found it like typical Scandinavians, because even one, I remember one person, one old man told me that I am very funny person, because he told me that I think you are a very funny person, because if I myself, I would migrate to a country, to a country, Kenya, do you think that I'll try to get connection with the people who are Swedish, not people who are Kenyans? Then I told him, do you know why I want to get connection with the people who are Swedish? Because I have already lived part of my life as a Kenyan. I can talk the language. My mother, before she passed away, I was good in class of being taught the culture, the traditions, the language. And we try to keep that language, we and my sisters, that when we talk Kikuyu. So we talk our vernacular. So we try to maintain that, or to keep that language going, so that, because if you do not talk that language, that is how I lost my English. You can see that you can hear that my English is not all that correct. I'm trying to get back my English, because when I was learning Swedish, I lost my English. I lost my Swahili. So that it is not easy for me to talk English today. But I did it because I wanted connection with the Swedish indigenous, for me to be able to come in the society, for me to be able to fit in the society. I realized from the beginning, and that's why I was very determined to stand the language. Most of the people, when they come here, they don't take language as a serious business. The moment you land in a nation where they don't talk the language that you can understand and hear, you have difficult time. Because if you cannot learn that language and take it seriously, how could you think that your social connection with the people, how do you expect it to expand and you cannot communicate with the people? Because like today, those years that I came, most people were settling in big towns. When you go to Stockholm, sometimes you not understand that you're in Sweden, because you'll hear so many people talking English. But when immediately you get out of, and it's just allowed that city. When you get even to the village, allowed that city, because they are villages. You live, I told you, in the Western nations, the immigrants are the ones that live in the cities. The indigenous, because immigrants are the ones that they live in rental houses. an indigenous, a Swedish indigenous, their house are owned by one generation to the other. Like my children now, they already have a house, not even one. So their life, I cannot put my life in their life. The kind of property they have, I don't even have a quarter of it. So one advantage of these indigenous is that, you see, their things are inherited from one generation to the other. And that's why you see, even for you to be an indigenous, sometimes it can be very difficult. I remember one of my sis, she was trying to settle in a certain place, and they wanted details. How can she live here? Then the moment they gathered information and they had her story that she has lived in West for so many years, the kind of job that she worked, her CV was good, then they welcomed her. But they were so concerned about who is this indigenous, who is this immigrant who is coming to settle with us here. I told you about the CV. Your CV is very good. Because when people, they know you, they will stand and they say, she cannot do like that. That is not how we know her. We know that girl. She's a Kenyan. Your CV is known. That is why you should live happy and very good with people, despite that they are not of their own race, because they can witness. And your CV is good. You are always welcome. And you see that people are always, I don't even live, I think one lady who live behind me, she's an Indian. And I think I don't know, then there is another family, they are rap, they come from Congo. But I told you, people from Congo, I love you, but you are a little bit cunning. So I try before I know your CV, I try to keep off. I don't hate anybody, but I try to get my peace, because I didn't want to be associated with people because of my CV here. I've lived here for so long, and because the father of my children, he worked as a business, so most of the people, they know us. And that is why I try to keep my CV very good, because I was the only black people who was living here before the other people came. So I am known here. And because my father's children and me, I work in a public places, I meet so many people. I try to keep my CV from drama, because I don't want dramas. So we go back to where we were. That language barrier is one thing that it keep people off, and they get replaced, because you cannot communicate with your neighbor. If you cannot talk French, Germans, or the language those people in that place they are talking, then it means that your social connection is very narrow and shallow. Then I told you about this age. Then if you are below that year, you'll have a problem, because one thing I told you about my children and the children who came from one of the West nation, and my children, the age was 3 years. I tried to connect the son and with my son, because I knew that despite this is West African boy was 3 years old, in matters and things, my son was more mature, because he had been brought up. I do hear people saying that children from Western nations, they are undisciplined. There is lack of knowledge there, and I think I'll take that. I will take that topic, and I try to explain to you difference between child born here and a child born in when you migrate with your parents. I told you there is a risk age. I don't advise. Maybe for a better pasture, it's good. But for that child, if you are planning to settle with a child, don't bring your child to West African when that child is above 16, 17, 18. That child will never he will not fit. He will never fit with the other teenagers. And that's one of the problems. Imagine that me, at that age I was, if I was not married. My advantage is I was married. So imagine that if I came as I came as a single, I married Are, but just imagine that age I was, I had no husband. Do you think that I could it's let me just give you a good example. It's like trying to match a city girl with a with a typical village girl. They will not fit. Because one thing, when you come here, like these children, they are brought up in a certain way. And African or Asians or an Arab, is a just example. We bring our children in another way. Do you think that it will be easy for that child who is 16 years to be able to fit in a group of teens that are born in another West nations? The behaviors are very different. And that's why you see most of these people who end up in depressions, they are young people, because they will never ever, they never ever, and if they get connection, most of the connection that they get is from their is from the children that is from the teenagers or the young adults or the young youth that are migrants too. But they have very low possibilities of being welcomed by indigenous or of fitting. They're welcomed, but they will not fit in the group of indigenous that have been born and raised in that nations that your parents or you yourself have settled. Another issue is, and we have talked about language. Age is a barrier that can disconnect you, because even we see another age that have problem, like when you bring your mom, your grandmother, those that are past age that they cannot go to school and learn language and be able to communicate with other old women, because old people, they are very social here, because there is nothing they do after pension. So those people, they have so much time to talk. But if you are not grandma from Africa, from Asia, or from other nations that they don't talk Swedish, you will not have any connection. You cannot be able, they will try to say hi to you, then with the time they will understand that you don't understand that language. They may be very willing, but language barrier is a problem. So we can see another group that can end up in depression because of being of narrow social media. As the parent that we bring in, that cannot be, due to their age, they cannot go back to school and study languages. because their head, they cannot get it. They are too old. So if those, I remember when I came that those moms that we are here to help, maybe because sometimes we get those moms and those grandmothers to help us to, when we have small babies, those times there are too much connections. It was like, even people could say so there are so many people that were coming to visit this mom who is babysitting the grandchildren. And even you could send your mom to other Africans, like it was easy for us to send our mom to other Kenyans to go say hi to her. You see, these things that people they did, they thought is a simple thing. Abusing and hurting the indigenous migrants or in Scandinavians. It of course the whole drama is up to stress. That is how worse this thing is. So the next time you get a second chance, don't misbehave, because it have caused you stress, lack of social network. Because remember, like a young adult here, remember, if you are not employed, you may not have a good cash. Maybe home, 2,000 was enough for you to, that is about 170 crowns was good enough for you to go for out here. But here, 2,000 is like nothing. So if you are not working, because most of these young adults from secondary school, especially the last years, like when they are turning, as long as you are over 18, you are even 16, from 17, they can start working and they earn their money. Then remember, these people, they have been getting parental support. Their parents have been getting parental support. And most of the parents here, they save money for their children for future. Remember, this child have already, when they are 18, their parents have already, like in the village where I live, like my son 2 years to come, he have to start, we have to start teaching him how to drive. For you to come here and to get a driving license, if you had a driving license in Kenya, if you would not work it out that you do the test and you do the test and you pass the driving license within that 1 year, then I don't know whether you do both or you just do the driving. I think because every international, I don't know whether Kenya driving license is passed, but I know the other, like Americans, it's passed. And when you lose that chance, like of 1 year ahead before you pass the driving test, then you have to start from the beginning, theory and practical. But if you can be wise, and it matters. That is why it matters who you are connected to, because you may not know this rule when you are very new, and that's why you need somebody to hold you hands. And because you don't have social network so someone to tell you that you have a driving license from this nation or the other one, so you have to book a driving course to show that you can drive within 1 year. Otherwise, when your driving license from the nation that you come from, it expires after 1 year. You have to start from the scratch. Remember, the indigenous youth like yours, they have money, they have cars, they have a better life. Most of us who migrate to other nations, especially, other European might not be have, but we have the poor, the lower Europeans also. They are not well up, but they are better. At least they are better because their driving license and some of their things they apply even to the developed nations. So we are not of the same. We are not of the same level. We start from the scratch, but then they have an advantage of being an European, so they can work wherever they want. So them first, despite that they're migrants, you meet a Swedish person living in Germany or in France, they have all the rights to work. You have to get person number, and then the process, if you are not yet done with the immigration today is an issue. So you will not be able to work. So you have no money. And sometimes you are not even permitted to go to school. So you are just in your house. You don't know the language. You don't know somebody whom you can connect. You don't know anything. And you are hoping that, and when you came or when you got visa, your mind was within 3 months or within 1 year, you had some goals. Then you come and stuck. Why should not somebody end up in a depression? That is how people they get depressed in West nations. Because you don't know the language, you don't know somebody who talk the language that you can talk, somebody who can hold you hands and show you the way. That is how people they get. And today, let us go back to where I was. When I came, most of the people they were settling in towns, at least where they could English. The big towns here, we can count them as Uppsala, Stockholm, Gothenburg, which other? Malmo, near Denmark. And so those places you could meet at least some immigrants. But today, the system of the migration is taking people, the people who are trying to settle in, especially, let me talk in Sweden, they are bringing them to the village because they see the need of people first learning the language. I know that there are the people who came here so many years and they ignored the language school. That without completing that language school, maybe they have, some is too late because they started like cleaning jobs. It might be too late. But today, the system of the migrations, you are not settling where you want. You are settling where they want. Get it? Before you used to settle where you want. But today, you are settling where you want. Get it? Before, people they used to settle where they want. But today, according to government who have given power to immigration, they have the right to settle where they want. That is how it is. It is not you to choose where to settle. Maybe you know somebody in Marmo. Maybe you know somebody in Stockholm, but they don't care about it. If they say that you are going to Kilna, where is minus 45, you have no choice. You have no choice. And in this village, most of the people they live are indigenous. They cannot talk your language. So the government is doing this to encourage as many as possible immigrants to learn the language because it have been seen, the statistics have shown that by the trend that was there before, people not going back to school and learning the language of the nation that they want to settle, it have led many to be jobless, and it have put a burden to the social government to be feeding people or to giving people food. People who are supposed to be working because they're not handicapped. They can work. But when they came, they did not bother to go to school to learn language. Now maybe their age is gone. So the Swedish government have learned with their own mistake that even the people who are there are some people that they used to come and their job was just to give birth to children. Today you can give as much as you want, but the government, there were some bad rumors that they were spreading some years before. That is why some people they flock in this nation because there was a child support, but that money cannot sustain a child. It was just long ideas and long information. And today, the government is allowing no one. You sit at home and just give birth like cat. They are taking you from that house and that home and you work. The social government have stopped to care whether you will sleep hungry or go naked or live during the winter in the streets. They don't care anymore. So when you come here in Sweden, take language very seriously because it is the way someone who is dependent of insulin, those of us who have studied medical, we know that insulin is the key that opens the door for the flow. That is how it is. And so, language in those nations, Sweden, we say Scandinavians, German, France, those nations that they don't talk English, language is the keyword. Well, the moment you land there the next day, ask them, where is the school where I can learn language? That thing helped me so much. I was so curious. I went to school even without uttering. Hurademe day. Just greetings. Those are greetings. How is it with you? I could not. I and my husband, we were talking English. But the moment I landed in school, I became so serious. Within 1 year, I had learned four stages, 4 courses. That is how serious I was. So when you get a chance to learn in West nations, except United States, and then some nations in some nations they don't know English. So the moment you land in a nation where you don't speak that language they speak, the next day ask them where can I learn this language? And we know today, even there is a good start. You can start the movement. You know that you are settling in a new nation. This mobile phone, they have so many languages. They can teach you. If you want to be taught France, they'll teach you. If you want to be taught any language, they'll teach. You can learn at least the base of the language with just your mobile phone. So it is very good to take language very, very seriously because language barrier. Imagine that even how you be travel, you cannot read. So no matter how many doctrines and how many degrees you have, Without knowing that language, you will not be recognized. But the moment you can alter a word and they hear that, yeah, you can talk our language, you are welcome. We can hear that you are one of us. You can speak Swedish. You are very welcome. But the moment they will realize that, you want to, that thing have caused a lot of races, that indigenous are caused. There was a time there was a lot, it was developing like a kind of racist, kind of how when the indigenous of Sweden, they realized that, people are settling here to get help, not even to contribute to the development of the development of the nation. They are coming here to get child care help. So they want to come here, give birth like that, and we work. They get money, and it caused a lot of trouble. And it was it was too much. And I'm telling you, up to today, you see that difference, that they tell you, and they try to they try to discriminate a certain group of people. From that time, the moment they realize that you come from that group, you are not welcome. They will treat you different. That is why I tell you, your CV, show whom you are, not what they think they are. You are. And if possible, even at a place of your work, even you can have a badge. I think it's good. I just got that idea last time. Last time I was at my place of work, that when I visit Kenya next time, I think I'll buy a badge that I'll be putting in my closet, which I have a Kenya national flag, so that at least people from Kenya, we are known that we are hardworking. We have a good CV. We have a good CV. We don't come here just to give bad. We came here to work. So the moment you settle, your behaviors are the ones that will cause people to separate you or to welcome you according to how you behave. So make your CV good. Make your CV good. So I hope that I have talked about everything, why people they get I think I've talked about this issue of immigration, because that one have also caused people that like to keep off from people that are newcomers, because you may not know whether someone have papers or not. And because now police are there are too much migrations, and now the elections are about to take place. And even the last year, that thing of a migrant was a big issue. And it was one that fed the last government. So this issue of immigrants, that no one wants to be associated, like to have issue with, everybody want to remain away from being involved with immigration issues. Like, I know even today you cannot like hold somebody. If somebody have said that she or she got permission to stay at your place at a certain time, like when that time is over, you feel insecure, because police are looking for people to deport. So you may not know whether, and here police, they have the right to break your house if you don't open. They have the right to come and use they can use the car, they can use the key and they search what they want to search in your house without your permission. Even you not know that they are there. They were there. You meet your things in order. Just know that, just in case somebody know them, or they will tell you after they do their investigation. So there's so much things that are trying, people, they are trying to keep up from each other because of what is happening with the issue of immigrations issue, because it has become an issue. It's like the headline of the Swedish news. So, and like this issue of like there was it have been a time that there have been so much killing, and it was like our nations have never been like this. And now these immigrants, since people might started migrating, those issues. So even teens, young, and parents are concerned about whom my children or their children are pushing with. And I've seen that issue, like you see, like Africans, young men, my son have no problem, like feeling that he want to go away from home because I'm home. But I've seen that those young men that came from Africa, when they are a little bit older, they want to roam in the street, and they are going in a group. And these people are not used to, and because of the kind of criminality that have been taking place, just be seen 2 or 3 days going in a group, you must wake the minds of the police. So you might draw interest of the police, because me, I have never seen my son like he want to go out. But I know that even the time I was working very late at night, I could meet these young immigrant men. Still, they are up to 12. They're outside. What are they doing outside? So they create a lot of tension. And some of those behaviors, you see that they try to keep these indigenous young men of their age away from them, because they don't want to be associated. They want, they feel that men want to be at home. They are used to be at home. Like now it's very dark. We have, like, before, the train stations, they used to be open 24/7. But the moment the immigrant young men, they started going there, and and it was that period that there was a lot of killing, and that it caused a lot of suspicions. So, and people, because this world have become another thing, so people are very mindful about whom their sons and their daughters are moving with. So it's all about how the world have changed. So it is, that one can keep you out of, and how you are as a person, you represent yourself. So I hope that this video will try to help those people who are trying to settle in Sweden. But I told you one thing: if you are young, you are doing yourself a very, very, very bad thing by not going back to school. Try to get educated like other indigenous children here. And when you go back to school, remember that you are not born here. Don't start copying the behaviors that, don't try to do or just to joke aloud like the indigenous. Those indigenous, their grandmother, grandmother back, there are so many generations, there are so many things to inherit. I don't mean that most of us indigenous that we come to look for a green pasture. Because if you had, and if I had, I could not have shifted from Kenya. So I do hear some people sometimes they're talking bad about, but for me, Sweden have given me security, it have given me education, it have given me children, it have given me very positive things. And I think that it would be so unfair for me to start talking about, to start talking shit about Sweden. Sweden have shaped and have helped my life. And there is no other nation that I'm going to spend most of my time than Sweden, I don't think. So Sweden is part of my heart as the way Kenya is part of my heart. So I hope that this video have helped you and you know how and what is expected of you when you land to a new nation where you want to settle. So my YouTube channel again is Wagarewa Jane. I have a new phone. I've been having issues of not being able directly to. My iPhone is very very full. And I've not gotten time because this one I know how to operate it, but the other one, it's a problem. But with time we will fix it one thing at a time. So I hope that this video will be a great help to you who have just added to a new nation or who is planning to settle in a new nation. Bye bye for now. Until the next video. Bye.